It's time to step inside the Octagon with your host, Ike Feldman.
What is up, fight fans? What is up, UFC fans? Big weekend for you. What is up, boxing fans? What is up, the combat sports community? It is your boy, Isaac Ike Armbar Mitzvah Feldman, in the present, in the flesh. Follow me on all social media accounts besides Snapchat and OnlyFans, both of which have gotten me in trouble. At IKETAGON, Octagon.com, or give me a call. Let me hear your dulcet, beautiful pipes. 646-820-9848. For some reason, friends and family have been calling the show hotline to catch up with me. I answer, I go, "This is Ike." And they're like, "Yo, what's up, brother?" And I'm like, "Oh, what's up, John? What's up, Joe? What's up, Jim?" I was like, "Guys, this is my professional show hotline, but nonetheless, yeah." And it's like, you guys have my actual cell phone. What the hell are you doing calling my hotline? Regardless, I appreciate you guys for getting involved. Jam-packed show this past weekend. Of course, I was doing something fight-related. This time, it was locally in Patchogue, my stomping ground. Literally, many, many breakdance circle nights, beating the beat up, clubbing, shaking the tail feather. Patchogue, New York, Stereo Garden, which used to be called Emporium for all the young cats, but it is now Stereo Garden, and that seems to be the home winter, fall, spring base, the headquarters for a local promotion on Long Island that is killing it. Flex Fight Series. Oh my goodness, they know how to do a local fight. I had on their manager, their showrunner, TJ Ragusa last week. You guys can scroll down on this Twitter feed, the at Ike Feldman Twitter feed, and at Ikedagon as well, if you want to find that lovely conversation with TJ. He is the man. He is the stash. He is that dude. And I'm very appreciative of TJ. He took care of me and my brothers, which my brothers and I, we all have 3 birthdays like within a week of each other. And TJ accommodated. Of course, my brothers aren't the cheapos that are going to just sneak in a beer. They threw down at the bartenders. And support your bartenders, support your waiters, hostesses, support local business any way you can. My brothers definitely did. They were a little taken aback from the alcohol and the whiskey because they were just having a great time. That's usually how it goes. If the fights are going well, if the atmosphere is great, which it always is for Flex Fight Series, then the drinks flow. So everybody had a great time. Their next show, April 22nd, Patchogue, New York, again, Stereo Garden. You guys know Ben, the Bane Davis, Harry Mack, the Bookie's Basement, Zaria Bloom, Chris Machi, Nick Canobio, brother of Dan Canobio from John Boy. We do it big. Long Island, just for some odd reason, we know how to do fights. Putting on promotions, putting on fantastic performances, and of course, killing it on the media and broadcast side of things. Shout outs to Flex Fight Series winners in Isa Sultan, Anthony Spatora, and Nick Navarro, aka Risky Business Nick. I will try to get a few of those names I just mentioned on the Octagon YouTube page. Hopefully tomorrow we'll have them on, a couple of local guys, local guests. And you guys can enjoy their story, enjoy their comments, because I was enjoying their fights. They put on spectacular performances this past weekend, and I don't remember the last time my my brothers have seen live fights. My sister is one of the biggest proponents for getting me into fights, bringing me to American Fighter in Suffolk County many years ago. I'm talking about 2009, and then to Maxim Jiu Jitsu. And she's also brought me to local promotions in Queens, Deer Park, Atlantic City, Mohegan Sun. My sister has been a huge proponent of my combat sports journey, whether that's actually participating in it and fighting, or whether that's covering it on the media side of things. She has been just a huge help, and shout outs to you, my sister. But my brothers got to enjoy the show. They very much enjoy the show. And you guys, I'm telling you, Flex Fight Series, if you are single, if you are looking to mingle, Flex Fight Series is the spot, the place, the atmosphere to be. It's where you want to be. April 22nd. They did it big. There is no UFC pay-per-view April 22nd, but if there was, they would have it on a big screen while their fights are going on, while great music is being DJ'd, while the atmosphere is terrific. It's just giveaways, raffles, just a fun atmosphere, very local, fun, tight-knit community atmosphere, and I loved it. And you get to see really high-level local talent. I mean, look at the local talent that we're going to see in May 6th. Newark, New Jersey was just announced. You have it headlined by Aljamain Funkmaster Sterling going against one of the goats in Henry Cejudo. Cejudo, obviously an Olympic gold medalist in wrestling, also a former 2-division champion. He was the king of the division which Aljamain Sterling is the king of, 135, as well as 125 flyweight. Henry Cejudo is back. The GOAT is back. I think it's a tough fight for Cejudo with all that time off. I don't know why he was asking to return in February at Perth. Man, if you're coming back from about a 3-year hiatus, it was about May 2020. 3 years almost to the day. I would think you need as much time as you can to hit the gas, get a feeler for what's sore, what can recover fast, and then recover and use that extra time to be better. For me, Aljamain Sterling is peaking. This is just going to be another stone in his belt. Aljamain Sterling is going to win this, and then everybody's going to question, well, you won because of an illegal knee against Peter Yan. You fought a crippled TJ Dillashaw with the shoulder. And now you're fighting somebody who's coming off a long layoff. You guys are idiots because John Jones just came off a 3-year layoff. So don't tell me that Henry Cejudo is not as smart as John Jones or not as intelligent with his training regimen, because that would be very ignorant and naive of you to think like that. That would be poor judgment. And I will judge you. I will dislike your post. I will ban you. I will flag you. I will message Elon Musk and say, get rid of this schmuck, because they don't know what the hell they're talking about or looking at. Aljamain Sterling is peaking. He's in a flow, a nice rhythm. I don't know the exact months, but it seems like he's fighting every 6 to 8 months, and he's put a lot of miles on his body, so he knows exactly how much he needs to hit the gas and how much he can relax and kick the feet up post-fight. It seems like he did a great job, because this fight was potentially going to happen in February or March. Seems like Aljamain Sterling did a great job not ballooning up, not becoming Patty the Fatty Pimlet post-win. It seems that he has negotiated the buffet in Vegas extremely well. So I'm very excited to see Aljamain Sterling. The last time I saw Sterling fight was April of 2018 in Atlantic City, and he got a win. I believe it was Cub Swanson. That was post Marlon Moraes loss, and that was his first win after that, and this will be his latest win, and he's just been streaking ever since. So Aljamain Sterling is peaking. I am pumped for that fight. There is a local fight that is not official yet that I would love to announce that I have some information for. But what is official and what is on the card is Charles Oliveira, former UFC lightweight champion, facing Benny Dariush, Elon Musk. Elon, where's my Tesla? Facing Elon Musk's favorite fighter in Benil Dariush. That's going to be an excellent match. Is Charles Oliveira, is he complacent? Has he plateaued? He streaked for about, 9 to 11 fights, and then he loses to Islam Makhachev, Khabib's boy. Now he's facing a hungry, streaking Benil Dariush, who's had a lot of time to think, a lot of time to get better, and a lot of time to grow his hair. If you see him on social media, he needs a haircut. No freaking doubt about that. But that fight is going to be amazing. The Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey is going to be amazing. Man, it's going to be a similar atmosphere to what we saw this past weekend with John Jones in Vegas. Aljamain Sterling has not fought in Madison Square Garden because of a medical issue, but Aljamain Sterling has fought in New Jersey, and he will fight in New Jersey again, inshallah, God willing, in May. And the atmosphere, it's basically a home game for Aljamain Sterling, so you can imagine it's going to be lit. This past weekend, the atmosphere was so freaking lit in New Jersey, in Las Vegas, that Jake Gyllenhaal and the UFC and the Roadhouse production team figured it was a perfect venue and time of the production process to film Jake Gyllenhaal's UFC fight. They had him shirtless, Jack Diesel, Shreddy Krueger on the scale of the weigh-ins. He did a John Attic interview, the pomp and circumstance where he did the face-offs. Then they had 3, 2, 1, action. They had him do a live action fight scene where, spoiler alert, he does a flying knee to KO his opponent. I'm not sure exactly when they filmed it throughout the night, but maybe they fit it in between fights or right before the main card because you have a full capacity crowd. And it just, what better way to recreate a UFC fight than put it on a John Jones returning pay-per-view card? So very smart job by Roadhouse Productions and Jake Gyllenhaal and the UFC to get that done. That's a great publicity stunt for the UFC. And Conor McGregor was in the building. You saw him sitting with Jake Gyllenhaal. Bruce Buffer was there, yucking it up with Jake and Conor. It seemed like a really good atmosphere. The fights were just tremendous. Valentina lost her crown. It seemed like there was getting some dust on that crown when she just fought Talia Santos in Singapore this past June, UFC 275 with Glover and Yuri headlining it. A lot of people were questioning that victory. But as they have said with John Jones's close victories over Thiago Santos and Dominic Reyes, you have to rip it away from the champ. And that was definitely 100% the case with Santos versus Shevchenko back at UFC 275. For this past weekend, Alexa Grasso did not leave it up to the judges. She studied that spinning Taekwondo back kick that Valentina does, grabbed a hold of her back, jumped on her like a human backpack that we will see May 6th at the Prudential Center, Aljamain Sterling. And she did not let go, got her hooks in, did a neck crank or a jaw crank, and got the job done. She must have some kind of torque on that crank position because Valentina was tapping due to the pressure on the jaw, not because of the carotid artery pressure. So great job by Alexa Grasso. And Mexico got another freaking champion, Brandon Moreno, Cain Velasquez. You have Mexican fighters like Yair Rodriguez knocking on the door of a UFC title. He is an interim featherweight title. So Viva la Mexico. Henry Cejudo, I believe he's American born. Brian Ortega, American born, but Kelvin Gastelum, American born. Diaz, American born. But you have just a tremendous population that got fed another champion in Mexico and South America. So excellent job by Alexa Grasso to get that done. But what everybody is really focused on is John Jones returning. There was a lot made up about his physique. Did he or did he not eat pizza for the 3 years? That remains to be seen. We will need to get to the bottom of that with John Jones. But shout outs to FaZe. Keep up the grind, bro. Well, FaZe, I'm going to phase you into the broadcast. I appreciate you, bro. Always working, always grinding, hustling, whether that's on the mats, whether that's in the gym, the boxing gym. Your boy is always grinding. So I appreciate this love and support, FaZe. Now I'm going to phase you out, but I do appreciate the love, my dude. John Jones. Man, there was a nice breakdown on Twitter. I believe the guy's Nissan Altima is something on Twitter, but he showed the differences between Jeff Neal's upper body wrestling, Greco wrestling, and turning into clinch and to do over-under clinching, as opposed to what Cyril Gahn did, which is overextend himself and expose his back. And it was cake in the bank for John Jones, and just easily did one of those Khabib jump over the legs into mount. What Cyril Gahn was kind of catty cornered against the fence, and you got to see that John Jones versus Lyoto Machida, that Eskimo grip type of or 5-finger guillotine, which he did against Lyoto Machida and put him out flat on his face. Cyril Gahn clearly does not have an educated background in grappling or wrestling. He is a pure, technically beautiful kickboxer, taekwondo, karate, Dutch style fighter. But when it comes to grappling, he could not hold Khabib Nurmagomedov's pinky. I think Khabib could submit Cyril Gahn. That was evident. This was very smart by the UFC. This was very smart by John Jones to take a not the cream of the crop fighter in Cyril Gahn. He's kind of in that second tier. If you look at the first tier, you have Cormier, DC, Stipe Miocic, Francis Ngannou, and now John Jones, that cream of the crop, the elite of the elite. Below that, you have Cyril Gahn, Curtis Blades, Tai Tuivasa, maybe Tom Aspinall, that second tier. Excellent matchmaking and way to build it up. You put a belt on the line. Everybody saw that Cyril Gahn has fought Francis Ngannou. You could show the wonderful knockouts over Derek Lewis. Yeah, Derek Lewis is in that second tier. You could show the wonderful knockout over Tai Tuivasa, the wins over, was it Volkov or was it Rosenstruck, where he outpointed them? Yeah, you could show that wonderful highlight package. But when it comes to the nitty-gritty, the cream of the crop, the elite of the elite, Francis Ngannou, Stipe Miocic, Daniel Cormier, what do they have all in common? They are much more well-rounded than Cyril Gahn. They can't just be athletic and explosive and use their God-given abilities to get out of situations like a Derek Lewis, where he's just like, I'm going to stand up now. And he just gets up from a side control. John Jones, Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic, Francis Ngannou would keep Derek Lewis down in side control, not allow him to get up. That comes with years of jiu-jitsu, wrestling, grappling, clinch positions, understanding the far hip, the near hip, pressuring, surfing on top of your opponent. So Cyril Gahn is not there yet. This seems like he is at the UFC, what was it, 220, where you saw Francis Ngannou exposed by Stipe Miocic in the clinch positions. Stipe survived the first round, survived the rockets and missiles being launched near and dear to his dome. But once he got out of that first round, he was able to survive, outpoint, and outwit Francis Ngannou. And then about 4 years later, Francis Ngannou came back with a wrestling background. And look, he was able to stuff takedowns from Stipe Miocic. Wow, that was a change. He was able to take down, out-grapple, and control on 2 bad knees Cyril Gane. Would he be able to stay on his feet against John Jones? Woo! That's what everybody wants to see. No doubt about it. What I do like about Francis Ngannou is how freaking confident he does. He tweets after the John Jones UFC 285 main event victory. He goes, "Nice win, respectfully, or sincerely, the heavyweight king." He is the heavyweight king, the undisputed heavyweight king. He's floating out there. He's getting better. He's recovering from those knee injuries. Yeah, I don't think getting into a fight in March was smart, and he thought the same. He pushed his negotiating power because, in a way, it gives him more time to recover. If he's ready for a July, if he's ready for a September, a November MSG, to make his return and maybe lower his asking price for the UFC, it's all negotiation. And Francis Ngannou is a very, very smart, very wise, very strong-willed individual. Probably the strongest-willed fighter that we have on this planet. More than Tyson Fury, more than Floyd Mayweather, Francis Ngannou gets it. That is the leader of the combat sports community, no freaking doubt. He could be a Muhammad Ali if he wanted to. Well-spoken, speaks 3 languages, from Cameroon, traveled to France, and an amazing journey to get to France. Listen to his 14-month crazy expedition to get from Cameroon to France, where he was on rafts, where he was the leader of a small voyage, where he got arrested, thrown in jail, where he was sent back to his country. About 3 or 4 times it took him to get to France, to MMA Factory, where he met Coach Lopez, who is now the coach of Cyril Gane. It's just, it's a movie waiting to happen, Francis Ngannou's story. Does he box Tyson Fury? Maybe. Does he lower his price for the UFC to enable him to box Tyson Fury and then come back for a John Jones fight? Let's freaking do it. Let's get along, people. Can we do the Stipe Miocic trilogy? So much to do for Francis Ngannou, and so much time he needs to recover. So I will be patient on that front. I'm with Rogan. Rogan knows more than any of us when it comes to this sport. And Rogan has not given up hope when it comes to a Francis Ngannou and UFC remarriage. You know, they need to push away the divorce lawyers and Hunter Campbell. They need to hug it out, him and Dana. Francis Ngannou will crack Dana's back with a nice bear hug, and then they'll get along once Dana's walking sideways. So it needs to happen. It needs to happen. There's no doubt about it. John Jones is happy that it hasn't happened yet. You know, he's like, give me time. Let him get the feel for heavyweight. He's going to fight Stipe next. That's perfect. Do it over the summer. John Jones seems unscathed. He seems like he has found his Lord and Savior again. He seems like he's humble, John. Hopefully he stays that way. Hopefully he goes home to his wife and kids. It can just remain focused. When we saw the most recent peak of Jones in 2019 and late 2018 was when he was fighting every 3 or 4 months. You had the Alexander Gustafsson rematch. You had the Anthony Smith fight, UFC 235. You also had the UFC 239 fight against Thiago Santos. Oh, it was 4 times in about a year. And then he fought Dominic Reyes, UFC 248, right before the pandemic happened. So he banged out 4 fights in about a 14-month span, and no issues, no picograms, no DV cases, no coke, shooting guns, no drunk videos, no cop cam videos. He was focused. So if the UFC really cares about John, and if John really cares about himself, let's make the gravy, baby. Let's make the money happen. Stipe Miocic, the greatest heavyweight of all time, versus John Jones, the greatest light heavyweight champion of all time. GOAT versus GOAT. Bah, 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 bah. Do it. International Fight Week. Whew. we'd all love to see it. We'd all love to see it. But as you can tell by the banner below, Francis Ngannou released on his YouTube page a clip where he watched a live reaction for the main event. He was not pissed. He seemed that he was enjoying it. So confident, so confident. He is the man, and he is the man with the plan. I do trust what he's thinking, what his management is thinking, what him and Eric Nixick are thinking in terms of a timeline to return to competition. But he gave credit to John Jones, but he also pointed out that John Jones was very aggressive because he was possibly nervous to let Cyril Gane get off any strikes, and he said that could be something that he could exploit. Interesting. If I get the opportunity to speak with John or Francis Ngannou before they fight or in the next year, I will definitely bring up that quote. That is very, very interesting. What John will say, like, yeah, I'm facing a very slick kickboxer. His strength is kickboxing. Why would I allow him to get comfortable with his strength? Wrestle, wrestle, wrestle. And I posted many months ago, if John is as smart as we all believe he is in terms of fighter IQ, definitely not outside of the cage IQ. But in terms of fight night IQ, extremely intelligent. And the smart thing, as Chael Sonnen said, if you're nervous, the best thing is to grapple. It's you may need a minute, you may need a whole round to get your timing off and to land a strike and get a feel for distance. And you may not be able to feel your feet right away on the mats and just getting a feeler for the nerves that are pumping through your body. Go to wrestling. Go to wrestling. Go to the well. Drink, 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 drink. Go to the well. Go to the well. And John Jones did. He chased down Cyril, cornered him, wrestled him. Wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. Good night, Irene. And got another victory. And yeah, on to bigger and greater things for John Jones. You hope he stays on the straight and narrow and does not cross the line. Doesn't do lines and doesn't cross the line. So John Jones is back, basically. Other performances, Jeff Neal versus Shavkat Rakhmonov. I don't have the fights in front of me. I should. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. Rakhmonov had a terrific finish to the fight. He was in a situation, Rakhmonov, Shavkat, where he was getting tagged by Jeff Neal. Anybody who underestimated Jeff Neal's kickboxing ability or ability to find his opponent's chin, you guys are the same people that are doubting Aljamain Sterling. Jeff Neal is very slick, has a ton of power, and Shavkat has shown that he's hittable. He does not have that boxing background where he can bob and weave his head out of the way. He's kind of stiff in his kickboxing approach, and Jeff Neal find the chin, but Shavkat made it dirty, made it gritty. This is one of those fights I saw a JHK MMA pointed out. This was the Gilbert Burns fight for Hamzat Chimaev. This was Shavkat Rakhmonov's Gilbert Burns fight to show gritty, to go the distance. To go longer than he's normally gone. He did get the finish inside of the final bell, but yeah, it's a step up. Don't rush these guys. They're undefeated. There's a lot of eyeballs on them. You still have a couple of years under the ESPN banner. Make these quiet killers, which people gravitate to, especially the Joe Rogans, who he can recognize a true fighter like Dmitry Bivol, like Shavkat Rakhmonov, like an Artur Beterbiev, like a Hamzat Chimaev, and just sees loads of potential. John Jones would manage these guys correctly. Sometimes the UFC throws these guys into the deep end, like a Jalen Turner, facing a Matthias Gamrot, Poland's own. Maybe that was a little rush for Jalen Turner. He was showing a big turnaround after the loss to Long Island's own steamroller MMA, Matt Frivola, and he went on a little bit of a streak, but now he was grounded as Gamrot got the decision. Do not rush Bo Nickel. He's clamoring for a title by the end of this year. Does that mean he's going to fight 4 times in a calendar year to get into a title picture? God bless him. But Bo Nickel, same thing. Got a huge win over Jamie Pickett. Who does he fight next at the 185 division? It is matchmaking is key. It's a very important job, no doubt about it. I'm not saying that Mick Maynard or Sean Shelby's job is easy, but they are a little callous when it comes to throwing these prominent, potentially elite prospects in the fire. To turn this or to tie a bow on it altogether, Darren Till has stepped away from the UFC and from MMA, and that can be attributed to being thrown in the fire a little too fast. Missing weight against Wonderboy back in March of 2018. Looking like crap against Tyron Woodley at UFC 228. And changing divisions and getting injured and just kind of being stagnant in terms of grappling. There are many possible reasons why Darren Till is no longer on that championship trajectory. Following the Kelvin Gastelum win at UFC 244, there was a chance. There was a chance. He did fight Robert Whittaker. He did tag Whittaker. But it's been a tough road for Darren Till. He is still young. I would not give up on him by any means, but the fact that he lost to Dricus du Plessis, who just beat TKO Derek Brunson on this past card, maybe the UFC were throwing him to the lions, trying to keep him relevant. And I don't know what is it? Once you're fighting the lions, you can't take a step back. I saw that Bryce Mitchell, who did he just lost to Ilya Taporia, a young lion in that featherweight division, and they're doing a great job with Bryce. And maybe he's requested it. Maybe he is thinking long term, not just looking for the 100 payday and to be thrown through the wolves and maybe only have a 3-year run. He seems that he's playing the long run in terms of maybe a 5, 7, 10-year trajectory of his career. He got his first loss against a top freaking contender. And he is taking a step back. He's going to be on the May 6th UFC 288 card against Jonathan Pierce. No offense to Jonathan Pierce, but this is a step down fight for Bryce Mitchell. And Bryce Mitchell should win this fight, potentially by decision, potentially via a slow, bleeded out grappling match, and that's fine. This should not be a knock on Bryce Mitchell for doing that. I respect it. If anybody's looking at Brian Ortega, Darren Till, who were in that same class, the 2018 title challengers, these young undefeated prospects, I'm not giving up on Brian Ortega. I am not giving up on Darren Till. Yair Rodriguez was also in that class. Yair Rodriguez had no problem taking a year and disappearing and getting his skill better. No problem. Ortega and Till have not taken a year off. They have actually, Ortega did take a year off and looked phenomenal after that year. He took the year plus after the Max Holloway loss and then came back to look phenomenal against Korean Zombie. That was a good move. He should do the same. He should not rush following the shoulder injury against Yair Rodriguez this past July. Take his time. I already see him throwing mitts, throwing leather, heavy in training. Take your time, brother. Do swimming. Work on, this is a little personal. Work on your relationship. There is no coincidence that you get injured, you and Tracy Cortez separate. Sorry to make it personal, but I felt like you guys have a great vibe. I believe it will work out. She seems to have a great affinity and connection for your kids. I hope you guys can work that out. Please don't get offended. Please don't get offended. My point is, do what's best for your career and trust the process. Francis Ngannou trusts the process of stepping back. I have no doubt that he knows exactly what he's doing. Very calculated, very confident. Yair Rodriguez, look at him. He's holding an interim title. He's waiting for Volkanovski, maybe the Holloway rematch. Who knows? He is now an A side in that division. Look at Calvin Kattar, or don't look at him, because he's been in many wars over the last 4, 5, 6 years that we've seen him competing at a high level for the UFC. He's taken a lot of time off, and I like it. I like it. He is too talented. He's too smart to rush anything, and I think it's an excellent strategy. Look at Kron Gracie. Kron Gracie, the last time he fought was October 2019. I believe it was the Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Michelle Waterson card. Kron Gracie, Cub Swanson. We saw Kron earlier in the year versus Alex Caceres, just cut through him like a knife, like a hot knife through butter. Just a beautiful jiu-jitsu submission. I believe it was the first card on ESPN. Francis Ngannou, Cain Velasquez. And then Kron decides not to make it a grappling match against Cub Swanson, and I think gets a ton of experience in just those 3 rounds. At first, I was a little like disappointed, frustrated that maybe he didn't employ the best strategy, or man, could he have done something different in the stand-up against Cub Swanson? He did exactly what he needed to do. Yes, he got his first loss. Whoop-de-doo. Big deal. He's going to be back and better. 3+ years off, running his beautiful facility in Montana. I believe it's just outside of Yellowstone Park. Very excited to see what Kron's bringing to the table against the killer in Charles Jourdain. So again, trust the process. Yair Rodriguez, Francis Ngannou, Kron Gracie. Trust the process. Yeah, 10 years, 15 years may seem short, but it could be cut way shorter if you are unintelligent with rest days and rest periods and growth periods. Yesterday's MMA Avenger, we spoke with Nazim Sadikov, recent UFC debut victor and member of Law MMA. He has a loss. Who cares? Charlie Campbell has a loss. Who cares? It's about how you learn from that loss. Yeah, undefeated is nice. There is a huge history attached to undefeated fighters that comes from the boxing world. But Charles Jourdain, if he beats Kron Gracie in this fight, May 6th, Newark, New Jersey, Prudential Center, you better believe 14-6 is going to be a very pretty record to be back into the top 15 of the UFC's featherweight division, especially if he gets a dominant win over Kron. And likewise, Kron takes off 3 years. If he comes back, gets a dominant win over Charles Jourdain, who is a savage, he could be in the top 15. So there are many paths to the crown. And you have to respect and understand those paths. And you hope for the best for people's paths. If they believe it's in their will to kind of push past a breaking point, to get back to the cage, to have a quick turnaround with training or with fighting, and that fuels their fire, God bless them. God bless them. You hope they know exactly what they're doing. I do respect what Aljamain Sterling's doing in terms of spacing properly, post-camp, pre-camp, in-camp. I think he's at he's clicking on all cylinders, and or firing on all cylinders, clicking all gears. It's beautiful to see. It is extremely beautiful to see. So this weekend, Bellator returns. It's I believe it's the Grand Prix, the first fight for the Bellator Lightweight Grand Prix. Usman Nurmagomedov, who is related to one Khabib Nurmagomedov. I know there's a lot of Nurmagomedovs fighting, but he is related to Khabib. Benson Henderson is not related to Dan Henderson, but that's going to be an excellent fight this Friday, Bellator 293 on Showtime. And guys, Michael Venom Page on this, Valentin Moldovsky, Linton Vassell, that's an excellent fight. Tofik Musayev, I believe he's Dagestani. He's killer in the lightweight division as well. That's a terrific fight. Is there? Yep. Of course, there's more UFC action. Merab Dvalishvili, another Law MMA fighter, is fighting this weekend against Peter Yan. More fights, more fun. Let's see what's going on in the boxing schedule of things. Boxing is about to get nutso. No crazy fight this weekend. Yep. If you go to March 25th, that is the fight of the month, in my opinion. David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant. Woo! Let's freaking go. Knocking on the door against Dimitri Bivol, Canelo Alvarez, Joe Smith, Artur Beterbiev. That division just gets hotter. I know it's 168, but now I like to see the cross division fights between 68 and 75. I think it will be well received among the fight community. And follow my boy Dan Canobio and Chris Algieri, two local legends, if you guys want more information on boxing. Anthony Joshua makes his return. Jermaine Franklin, that is the week after, against Benavidez and Plant. Also this week, next month, or April 1st, is Roy Jones Jr., Anthony Pettis. That is not an April Fool's joke. Vitor Belfort, Ronaldo Souza, a.k.a. Jacare fight. I believe Jose Aldo, Jeremy Steven. It is a boxing event. This is under Icon Fights, which is a Jorge Masvidal Gamebred event. Shout outs to Masvidal. I should be in Miami, God willing, inshallah, for the April 8th UFC 287 fights. Very excited about that. Hang out with my boys, Robbie, Jarrett, Milton, as well as see some freaking terrific fights. On the same night, Shakur Stevenson returns. It's a great time to be a fight fan. And we just got past the football season. So what are you guys going to watch? Golf and baseball? God bless you if you do. I'm getting into it more and more. The very lazy, hazy days of the spring and summer in the Northeast. But if you need some fire in your diet, boxing is always there, as well as MMA. Virgil Ortiz in April. Stephen Fulton versus Iowa and now Inu, and Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano. Just an excellent upcoming season for boxing and for fighting. Again, May 6th, Newark, New Jersey. April 8th, Miami, Florida. The UFC is doing it big. When will we get the Fury Usyk fight to balance out all the MMA fight? Hopefully soon. But guys, thanks for tuning in. I love and appreciate you. It is your boy, Ike Feldman, a.k.a. Armbar Mitzvah Feldman. Shout out to Scott Farrell on the grid, Farrell on the bench, for his fan base for coming up for that nickname. I love and appreciate you guys. Follow me everywhere at IKETAGON, IKETAGON.com. if you want to know more about me. 646-820-9848. Let me hear your beautiful dulcet tones and not my my clogged nose tones. Jeez, is it allergy season or is it allergy season? Guys, tune in again tomorrow. I'm going to have some local interviews, which I think you guys will be fond of. Peace.